Now, as you prepare to get gardening into full swing, we've got a new project for you to consider. Composting, a cheap way to add valuable nutrition to your soil. You can get started with just a few supplies. Andrew LaCombe learning more in Do-It-Yourself Wednesday project and joining us live from Menards in Marquette Township. Andrew?
Hey Vicki, that's right. Today's project is something that if you start now, you'll really see the benefits in your garden coming up later on this summer. It's also a way to save some money and just really add a new challenge to your gardening experience, especially for experienced gardeners who may be doing the same thing for a while. Here's a new project to try. I'm joined now by Darren Miller, the general manager here at Menards. So Darren, tell me why people compost.
Most people choose to do it just because it's an organic, something you can do to just be natural, and also it saves you, as you said, it saves you some money in the long run.
So what can you compost? We have some examples here.
You
right?
can compost a lot of material. What we have here is some dry goods, some lawn waste, leaves, pine cones, miscellaneous, and then food scraps. You have orange peels, banana, tea bag, apple core. A lot of that stuff that you just are throwing in the trash can be used to make really rich soil for your garden.
So how do you start the process if you want to do it at home?
The first thing you want to do is get some bare earth if you're not getting a compost bin. You take the bare earth and you put a layer of straw down first, and then after the straw and dry goods, that's when you're going to put on your wet goods, your food scraps. And you basically want to just alternate between wet and dry. But one thing you do need as you go is some manure, which is going to help activate the compost and help everything break down. We have here dairy cow manure and chickadee doo-doo, which is 100% organic chicken manure. And we also have a compost booster, which is going to help break down faster so you can use this compost sooner. If you do have a problem with the smell, you can always add some garden soil to the mix to reduce that. Just with the manure, it's important to know don't use fresh from your pets. That is something you want to avoid.
Okay, good to know. Now, how do people start collecting this stuff in their kitchen, or what do you recommend for that?
Usually just a bucket. You want to have a bucket for the food scraps, and usually do 1 bucket of food scraps to 2 buckets of yard waste, just because the yard waste is a lot lighter, so you want to kind of mix it up that way. And then you do want to turn the compost about every 2 weeks. Go out there with a pitchfork, which we have here, and just turn it over and make sure everything's getting rotated good. That gets some air in there and helps it break down properly.
Okay, and then it depends. So you can use it based on when, how much you have and everything?
Yeah, you really just want to keep an eye on it. And when it gets to like that rich soil, and it's kind of just as you go, if you've purchased compost before, you'll know what it looks like when it gets there. But as it gets there, you'll be able to use it and just keep rotating it and pretty much have a replenished stock constantly as you get going.
Okay. Darren, thanks for joining us. We're going to be back here again later on this morning. We're going to look at ways to store compost in your yard, to do that safely, protect it from animals, also how you spread it, use it in your yard when you start to garden, and looking at some other natural ways to fertilize your plants. So we'll be back here later on this morning. For now, I'm live in Marquette Township. Andrew LaCombe, TV6 News.
Compost is the cheapest soil additive you can find, and you can make it without spending a cent. To learn how to make it, we join TV6's Andrew LaCombe at Menards for more on today's Do-It-Yourself project. Andrew?
Hey Greg, earlier this morning we were checking out what exactly you can put in a compost, what you can compost, from food scraps to some yard clippings, and now Darren Miller, the general manager here at Menards, is going to tell us how you can store your composting materials and keep them away from animals or the elements outside, right?
Yeah, especially in this area, a lot of times you'll have animals that want to get into your compost because a lot of the food scraps and things are things they're going to be after. What we have here is a larger bin. This is one you can still feed from the top and actually empty from the bottom. And then that way you can get the compost from the bottom and it's constantly being recycled. You do still need to use a pitchfork with this though and get in here and turn it on occasion just to make sure it is still processing correctly. One nice unit that we have, it's a little bit smaller, but you don't have to do the work with the pitchfork. It makes it a lot easier to maintain it, is this unit right here. And for that, just about every 2 weeks, instead of pitchforking it, you can go out and you can spin it, stop it at whatever level you need to, and rotate your compost that way. And the top comes off real easy, just spins and pops off, and then you have access to your compost there as soon as you need it.
Yeah, I was reading about, the importance of the center is what really gets heated, and so you want to keep that moving because that's where the compost reaction, I guess, is happening, right?
Absolutely. If your pile of compost is steaming, it's actually doing something right because you want that heat in the middle to activate everything and kind of just break it down. So that's absolutely 100% correct.
Okay, so if you've got your compost ready, it could take, a couple of months or something, maybe later this summer it will be ready. What do you do with it?
Well, once it's ready, you really just spread it out on the garden just like a fertilizer. And then once it's spread out, that's going to help feed your plants and feed whatever you planted and be ready to go right in your garden. But if you don't have that ready to go, we do sell compost here at the store, compost and manure, so you can get started. And even if you're still looking for organic, we had some products that we were talking about earlier that are the cow manure here, the dairy cow manure, and also the chickadee doo-doo are ready to go. They're going to help you fertilize now while your compost is getting going.
Okay. So Darren, thanks for joining us this morning, telling us about a new challenge for some gardeners, right?
Absolutely, and it's something that, it's going to take some time, but you're really going to enjoy it, and it's really satisfying to provide your own compost.
All right, Darren, thanks for joining us. We're going to head back to the studio now. I'm Andrew LaCombe, live in Marquette Township this morning. Greg?